Yeah, so right here, this is not the point to be getting in. I would much rather give people, like, if you hold above this 200 moving average for a couple days, I would feel much safer about getting long at that point. And just in full fair disclosure, I've been shorting as of yesterday. I've started to inch in on the short side of Bitcoin with my members at verifiedinvestingcrypto.com, and we will likely add again, and we're doing very small amounts, like 2.5% of portfolio. So it's very small at this point, but we're definitely looking for a pullback off the 200 moving average. And then ultimately, I do think it breaks to the downside in the next couple months when the NASDAQ and tech sector starts to reverse down to the downside.
Amidst the recent upswing that saw Bitcoin hitting its highest weekly close of 2022, Gareth Soloway, the president and CFO in the MoneyStocks.com and VerifiedInvestingCrypto.com, warns the rally will not last and investors who buy in now may be buying into resistance. With over 20 years of experience, Soloway is not new to investing, trading, and technical analysis. Late last year, while many analysts predicted that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies would get higher, Soloway took a different approach, insisting that the market was going the other way. According to the technical analyst, the crypto market has to shed some of its over 18,000 tokens. Last year and earlier this year, Soloway predicted that the world's largest crypto would fall to $20,000 or below during the next crypto crash. He added that many smaller tokens would go to zero before the crypto market begins to recover to become bullish again in the long term. In a recent interview with Stansberry Research, Soloway maintains his earlier stance on the issue, declaring that Bitcoin is still very likely to hit 20,000 in the coming months despite the recent positive trends and reports. Please watch, share, and like the video. Enjoy. In the first part of his interview, Soloway states that the Fed's interest rate hikes informed the recent upswing in the crypto market. He explains that NASDAQ has had a massive move to the upside after the announcement and crypto is only following suit. However, Soloway insists that the rally will not last and we will soon see the market heading in the other direction. Here is Soloway explaining the correlation between crypto and the tech-laden NASDAQ Composite Index.
Yeah, they've definitely given it a nice little push to the upside. What I'm focusing on here is that if you look at the Nasdaq, right, the Nasdaq has had a huge move to the upside. In fact, I can quickly show the Nasdaq 100 chart. So you've had this big risk on trade coming back ever since the Fed raised 25 basis points, and then crypto is kind of following suit here. So while there's positive developments in crypto, I would say in general it's behaving just like it should. It's following the tech sector as it did to the downside, or in fact, you could argue that it led to the downside. My major concern here is the chart. The chart to me is actually coming into significant resistance. You can see here it's had multiple up days in a row, about 7 up days in a row. This is the upper range. If you connect this high right here, let me zoom in a little bit there to this high. Notice how that trend line is right above here, and then that's the 200 moving average. So for me, if Bitcoin is really about to break out here, it needs to get over this area. This would be the big area. This is the one you want to follow as a technician. Otherwise, technically you're still stuck in this same sideways channel that we've been in since January. So, it's a great move, but I'm not seeing the meat and potatoes yet, if you will, of the breakout yet. I know there's a lot of bullish sentiment out there. That's a little concerning because everyone's jumping back on the bandwagon. And just like when we were at 68,000, that was the same way it was, and we know what happened. So let's watch and see what happens over the next few days.
Okay, so 48,250, the true test. Is that the level?
Yeah, I would want to see price get above that level and hold there for at least a couple days, not just peak above where it fools people, but actually hold there. Then we start talking about, all right, now this could be a legitimate break to the upside.
In his interview, Soloway also explains that while there have been many positive reports for crypto in the past few weeks, certain signals in the chart indicate there will be a downtrend soon. He adds that the Fed has also announced that there will be more tightening in 2022, which will mean a lot of deleveraging as fear increases among investors. The result will be NASDAQ reversing to the downside, followed shortly by the crypto market. Listen to Soloway's explanation of what investors should look out for to avoid buying into resistance.
No, it hasn't. And I'll tell you this, is that basically all of these things like Ray Dalio, Goldman Sachs, even the invasion of Ukraine, which pushed oligarchs to arguably move into Bitcoin to avoid sanctions, those are all unbelievably bullish things for the longer term. But what concerns me, number one, is the bear flag that you can see in front of you on the chart, and that tells us that there's likely further downside. And the second thing is, with the Fed raising rates and arguably talking more actively about 50 basis points multiple times this year, you likely will see continued deleveraging in the system. So the NASDAQ, yes, it's had a great bounce. I don't think it lasts. And if the NASDAQ starts to fall and fear comes back in, then you have to say Bitcoin likely will go lower. So again, longer term, those are all positives. In the short term, fear and greed really rule. Right now, you're getting a little bit on the greed side. And ultimately, I think fear takes over and takes us lower. Yeah, so right here, this is not the point to be getting in. I would much rather give people, like if you hold above this 200 moving average for a couple days, I would feel much safer about getting long at that point. And just in full fair disclosure, I've been shorting, as of yesterday, I've started to inch in on the short side of Bitcoin with my members at verifiedinvestingcrypto.com, and we will likely add again, and we're doing very small amounts, like 2.5% of portfolio, so it's very small at this point, but we're definitely looking for a pullback off the 200 moving average. And then ultimately, I do think it breaks to the downside in the next couple months when the NASDAQ and tech sector starts to reverse down to the downside. So if you're looking for the bull case, you need it to get above the 200 moving average, so 48,250, and it's got to hold there for a couple days to secure itself. Otherwise, you're right into resistance here. You never want to be the person buying right into resistance.
Soloway also explains that the last flush out that saw Bitcoin dipping to $34,000 did not take down any altcoins. That, coupled with the planned tightening, will bring down the crypto market, including the world's largest cryptocurrency.
Okay, so you first want to see what happens, but overall you still think we're going to have that serious correction or crash back down to 20,000.
I really do. I mean, at this point, you can't tell me that the flush out we've seen, it hasn't, none of the alts have gone out of existence and there's 15,000 cryptos. You've got to see some sort of flush out in the system. I mean, even in 2017, you had some going to zero. You got to see, there's so many more today. You've got to see more of that. The Fed is tightening. They're telling you that they're going to tighten and they're going to tighten aggressively. That is negative for risk assets. Bitcoin falls into a risk asset right now.
While Soloway sees it deleveraging soon, the crypto market has had some important developments in the past few days. First, the crypto fear and greed index has jumped to greed for the first time in 4 months. In addition, Bitcoin had its highest weekly close for 2022 on Sunday. At $47,745, Bitcoin has had a 12% increase over the past 7 days and a 26% increase over the past 30 days. Many of the technical signals in the daily and weekly charts also remain bullish as traders look to capture the 50,000 resistance zone. So we might not see Soloway's prediction play out anytime soon. However, he does explain that if the asset goes over the 200 moving average and stays above for a few days, the rally could continue and last longer. What do you think? Does the market go up or down? Be sure to leave your comments below and hit the like button. Thanks for watching the video.